Have you ever wondered what inspires people to step on the stage and start speaking? Today, we have Christine Lang, President and Principal Advisor with Lang Financial Consulting. And we're gonna talk all about what inspired her to step on the stage and utilize speaking as a huge tool and asset to grow her business. Stay tuned for more. Get ready to shine on the main stage, where brilliance in business meets the art of speaking excellence. I'm Meagan Fettes, your guide on this thrilling experience as we decode the power of influential speaking strategies and personal transformation, illuminating the path towards achieving your full potential as a speaker. Welcome everybody to the main stage. I'm Meagan Fettes, and I am so excited to be here today with our special guest, Christine Lang. She is President and Principal Advisor at Lang Financial Consulting. Welcome, Christine. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Meagan. I am delighted to be here with you today.
Oh, and we're gonna have some fun.
Okay, let's have some fun.
Yeah. So I always love to start off the show in really understanding and helping the audience understand what inspired you to step into speaking.
So the irony in this is that I have been terrified of public speaking for my entire career and my entire life. And in fact, when I worked in corporate finance, I hid from even being asked a question because I was terrified of not knowing the answer, not being able to do it. My face would go red. So the irony is that now I am not only doing public speaking, but I'm actually out pursuing it actively.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, and the reason that I'm pursuing it actively is because I have a tool that I work with my clients where we find the money that's been slipping through their fingers. And when we find that money, my clients are able to then start to put together the life that they really want. And that becomes really powerful. And once they become aware of the money that's slipping through their fingers, they're able to make new choices. And again, as a result of that, I see these incredible changes in their behavior, and from their behavior, it changes their life. And it really does, this tool really does change their life. I've used it with myself. And when I started to see the results. So it's not just me showing my clients how to do it, but I live this strategy and this tool myself.
Which is important, right? Like I always say, it's important to lead by example.
Indeed.
Being able to share and teach what it is that you're already doing.
Indeed.
And I know you know this already because I tell you this all the time, but I absolutely love what it is that you're doing because I've never met anybody that does it in the entirety that you do. Right? It's really about, and you mentioned it already, changing the behaviors and really helping people understand where those behaviors are coming from.
That's right.
Which is so key. So in knowing that you have this incredible skill set that you need to share and really realizing that there's a way to do this at a bigger scale.
That's right.
What finally pushed you over that edge of being able to deal with that fear?
Yeah, so I think because I dealt so much with my clients one-on-one and because I know the power of this tool, the other, if I may just say, what I know for sure is money is vulnerable. And so I wasn't necessarily getting the traction with having one-on-one conversations, and I just feel like this message needs to get out into the world. And the only way I can see that doing that is by writing a book and getting up on the stage and getting in front of as many people as possible and sharing this message with them.
Mm-hmm. Now I have to ask you this because you talk about money being vulnerable, and one of my biggest pet peeves with speakers is when they come up and they're like overly well rehearsed, and it almost feels like there's a disconnect.
Right.
So have you ever experienced that with like other people who are in your industry, like financial individuals?
Absolutely. I always like to say that I live in opposite world and I do things completely different than most people in the financial services industry. And so my work is heart-centered. And what I am most interested in is helping you change your relationship with your money. So our relationships with our money, they're not ours. They didn't come from us. We learned them from our parents and our grandparents and our spouses and Google and any place that we could. And what I know for sure is there are smart, educated, successful women out there who are making great money, who are struggling every single day. And I know this because I was one of them for a very long time. And it took me until I was probably in my late 30s before I finally figured it out.
Which is so empowering to hear that, right? Because I think so often, and this is where the power of speaking really comes in, right? Because there's the power of your story and being vulnerable enough to share those elements.
Absolutely.
Because the thing is, we all hold on to shame.
100%.
And especially when it comes to finances, right?
That's
Like
right.
we hold on to so much shame if we feel like we're not getting ahead or we're not making these goals, or maybe we've got these consistent behaviors that we're aware of, but we don't know how to change them. We don't know how to overcome them.
That's right.
And so rather than being able to say, hey, I need some help, we just hold on to it.
We do.
And so we do need somebody who's willing to step up on the stage and share.
Absolutely. And you won't find many people like me in my industry. What you'll find in my industry is people who are going to stand up on a stage and they're going to tell you a bunch of things. They're going to tell you to create a budget, to stop spending, and just basically grow up. Right? Nobody tells you to have fun with your money, which is a key component, I believe, of being in relationship with your money, is letting yourself have fun with it. I mean, if you're not having fun with your money, then what is the point? And I'm also not going to make you do a budget because I think they suck and I don't think they work. I think they're shame-inducing, which again is why I think I live in an opposite world, but it works.
Well, and not to give away aspects of your talk, but there is that one, and I love this piece of your talk about the neuroscience behind why budgeting doesn't work.
Absolutely.
And I think that's brilliant because, I mean, I remember growing up with my parents and they would have the different jars for the different aspects of their budget.
Yes.
And there would be times where they'd be shuffling things around to try and make whatever aspect of whatever part of their budget work. And I remember sitting there as a kid being like, well, how does this work?
That's right. And it doesn't. The
No.
truth is that it doesn't. Whether you're putting your money in jars or putting them in categories in a spreadsheet or a workbook, what happens is, so our brains like things to be easy. And we like to do things that are familiar, even if they hurt us and put us into a position of discomfort. It's comfortable because it's familiar, even though it's not necessarily good for us. And with budgets, and we talk about it a lot, I think a budget is much like a diet. Now, don't get me wrong. I think there are absolutely places in life for budgets. I think that if you're buying a new car, you should have a budget for that. If you're doing a renovation on your home, you should have a budget for that. If you're going on vacation, you should have a budget. Anything that has a start and stop component to it, that's the perfect place for a budget. But if we're talking about life, they don't work. And one of the big reasons it doesn't work, like I mentioned, our brains are lazy. They like things to be easy, which means that we really suck at mental math. And it gets even worse if you've got somebody else sharing an account with you. So if you're out and you're shopping and you get coffee at Starbucks and then you pop to the grocery store and pick up some groceries, but now you've forgotten that you've got your mortgage payment is coming out today, and your car payment came out yesterday. And so while you may be thinking, oh yeah, I'm good, you've lost sight of all of those other things that we forget about. And then speaking of forgetting, it's not uncommon to forget that I bought a coffee at Starbucks and used my debit card.
Totally. See, and I love that you have overcome that fear and that you're actively looking for speaking engagements now because, like I mentioned, you have such a unique approach and you have a message that people need to hear because it's finally going to give them permission to overcome that feeling of shame if they've tried to budget and it didn't work. And that's why there is such a power in speaking, right? You're giving voice to the people that need it the most to overcome the biggest challenges and issues they're struggling with.
And this tool gives you an easy way to be successful with your money.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It's easy.
Right? And if our brains are lazy,
and you give them
easy all the way.
Yep, you're going to be successful. You can't help but be successful.
Oh, this is amazing. So we're going to carry on the conversation, but for right now, I would love to know, How can people get in touch with you?
Yeah, probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is go to my website. It's liveabiglife.ca. And that is intentional because the purpose of what I do is to help you live your big life. So liveabiglife.ca, you'll have all of my contact information, maybe some interesting information for you to peruse while you're there.
Amazing. Thank you, Christine. I'm really excited to carry on this conversation. Stay tuned because we're going to come back and talk about the top skills to create success in speaking. We'll see you there. As the curtains draw to a close on today's episode of the Mainstage, remember to apply the lessons learned and embrace the journey ahead. It's Meagan Fettes urging you to keep striving for excellence in your speaking endeavors and your business pursuits. Until next time, stay inspired and keep shining.